Hello, my name is Ginger Samito. I live within Siskiyou County, the northernmost county in California. My background is a statistician with over 30 years of governmental experience, and I would like to share with you the facts and data about the effects on water within the aquifer by the organized criminal elements who are now present. We know that our body is made up of water. In fact, it's made up of 65 to 90% water. Even our brain is 70 to 75% water. And the blood flowing through our veins is 83% water. Water is vital to delivering of oxygen all over our body. And as a rule of thumb, survival without water is only 3 days. Although I have found extreme cases in which this period is extended, the individuals, however, were in serious medical decline. Most literature states that a human needs at least 1 gallon of water per day for their body to function properly. We are not alone on this planet dependent upon fresh water for survival. When we think of water, we think of fish or wildlife which walks or takes flight as a consumer of water. In addition to these, we have forgotten dependent consumers such as the insects, snakes, organisms, which are the food source and require water for survival. Our domestic animals and those used for meat production is dependent upon having water to survive. And whether raised as a pet, food, or as a product they provide, such as wool, they need water. Even a chicken needs a pint of water per day to survive. Nothing can survive without water. Our fruit and vegetables are almost completely composed of water, either from corn, potatoes, tomatoes, which are 95% water, or even beans that are 89% water. So how much water does it take to produce a pound of food over the growing season? This chart shows but a few of the food sources that we need to exist. So let's look at, just for comparison, a couple. Let's look at lettuce, which only needs 28 gallons of water to produce a pound, or apples that need 100 gallons to produce a pound, or cannabis that needs 450 gallons of water to produce a pound of product. Ask yourself, which is more important, food or cannabis? We are experiencing unprecedented fires in the Pacific Northwest, starting earlier in the year and lasting longer. Water is crucial to extinguishing fires, whether it's wildland fires or structural fires. Even the retardants used to extinguish fires must have a portion, a component of it, as water. It's part of the mix. Water is absolutely necessary for our safety. So where does our water come from? We either obtain water from groundwater or from water storage areas, our reservoirs. However, these storage areas are in dire condition due to extended drought. The closest reservoir to Siskiyou County is Shasta Lake, which is only 39% of the average historical recorded data available. And in fact, all water storage locations in the state of California are at record lows. No community in California is exempt from this drought. And with months away from any potential rain event, there may be even greater restrictions applied than already are in effect. When the water is gone, then what? Where do you go? Where do you get water? At some point, the question needs to be asked, what is the most important consumption of our precious resource? Our most precious resource, water. Which one should be eliminated? Our food, ourselves, the wildlife, or the illicit cannabis operations run by organized crime? We know. Do you? Last year, 31 wells went dry in our volunteer fire department, while a few of the agricultural well owners sold water for organized criminal operations in Siskiyou County. Water was left to flow on the ground freely while the water trucks repositioned at this agricultural well wasted on the ground as citizens who had lost their wells watched in horror. This well owner set up an apparatus in order to fill 5 of the water trucks simultaneously. On one day, I recorded on my security camera 93 trucks passed my residence between 5 and 12 noon, delivering water to illegal cannabis operations. Based on the following observed information, 8.1 million gallons a day was being diverted from this groundwater aquifer for use in an organized criminal cannabis operations in a drought year. Not was this just abuse of our most precious resource, but this was gross abuse. So what does it mean for groundwater extraction to be abused? For this drainage, it means 31 wells went dry. It meant that the water in the river, which has endangered fish, may not get the ample water that they need to survive, nor the water temperatures be cool enough. It means that there's less water reaching the small ponds which migratory animals use on their flights. It means an expense to the homeowner of increasing the depth of their well at a cost of $25 to $50 a foot for just a well extension, not counting the cost of the pipe or the other materials associated with it. Most wells in this area are 150 feet. Mine is 250, others deeper. And there is no guarantee that the water will be there when the well is lowered. Also, there's an increased expense of pumping the water from a greater depth that's not even calculated. It means that when the water is removed from the ground lowers. There's a sinking. It may not be as dramatic of a sinkhole in Florida, but it's enough to cave in underground water channels, changing the groundwater water course, or the sinking that can damage the underground infrastructures in areas, such as bending and breaking pipes that lead to a person's home. For water quality, it means an increase in the naturally occurring arsenic in this area in the water. As the water decreases, the increase in the arsenic. And now the organized crime has introduced chemicals. So now we have an increase in toxic chemical concentrations. All this for organized crime. One can look at my well monitor output in order to see how groundwater is being affected. In 1 month, the well was almost 2 feet of lost water. Calculations of my well as a linear function, I estimated a projection of 3 months until it would be dry. An ordinance was implemented on May 4th by Siskiyou County to curtail the extraction and off-site export of water. The response to this ordinance can be seen as a measure of recovery, a recharge of the groundwater by my monitor. Beneficial use of water is defined as the uses of water necessary for the survival and well-being of man, plant, and wildlife. Organized crime has abused the water necessary for this aquifer. The survival of every living thing in this aquifer depends upon water. Which do we omit from having? This must stop. This organized crime must stop. Is it worth it? Is organized crime worth the last drop? We think it's not. We, the residents of the aquifer in Siskiyou County, are asking agencies in both the state and the federal in charge of protection of the needs of the fish, wildlife, and of our most precious resource, water, to help us. We're not an island. We're a county within a state, within the country. We're asking you to help us. Our county cannot do this by itself. This is an organized crime, and we are suffering from it. We cannot continue. This needs to stop. We need your help.